I just want to let you guys know that I'm not going to be making any jokes or references to Top Gun with the Zeta aerial bots. With Fans Toys aerial bots, that'll be a different story. What's going on, everybody? S.L.B coming at you with another video review, and this time we're taking a look at Zeta ZB-01 Fly Fire. This is their second release in the Kronos line, and here's his packaging really quickly. Really nice artwork on the front of the packaging. On this side of the packaging, you just have Fly Fire in his robot mode pointing to the stars. On this side of the packaging, you just have Fly Fire in his airplane mode. Top of the packaging, you just have the Zeta logo, ZB-01 Kronos Flyfire. Bottom of the packaging, you just have your warning, QR code, miscellaneous stuff. And on the back of the packaging, you just have some artwork there of what their combined Kronos is going to look like. And it's continuing on from Toy Worlds, you know, when their Devastator did a combining picture of all 6 boxes. But that is it for the packaging. Let's get him out of the packaging and see what he looks like in hand. So here is Flyfire out of the packaging, and really quickly before we get into the figure, let's go over what's included in the packaging. What's included, first and foremost, is the collector's card, which I do like the collector cards. Just has that same artwork that was on the box, on the card. Very nice, thick card stock as well. And on the back, you just have your tech specs as well as the product shots right there. And that's it for the collector card. Also included in the packaging, you do get the instructions, which I have to give credit to Zeta. They're doing a really good job with their instructions. Very clean, very easy to follow. I do like it. Also included in the packaging, you do get his blaster here, which is a really nice blaster. Got some nice blue paint on the inside there, some pretty decent molded detail. I mean, not a lot of molded detail, but you do get some blue paints here and back here. Yeah, it looks really good. It's pretty good. So there's that. You do also get the missiles with the clips. You get 2 sets of these. And we'll get into that when we get into vehicle mode, how to store them and everything, but there is that. So let's move on to the actual airplane. And I gotta give credit to Zeta because they, for the aerial bots at least, they are knocking the vehicle modes out of the park. I have really no quarrels with this vehicle mode. There are just some issues with, you know, things tabbing together more securely, especially up here in this area. Like for some reason this doesn't want to punch in together, as well as the wings. But overall, I mean, this airplane mode is great. I love it. Grab our little pointer spudger here. God, I love this thing. We can go throughout the detail. A lot of molded panels blend in very well with the other panel lines in this thing to give it that airplane look, which I think works very well with this figure. You got some nice air intakes on the front here, painted silver, which looks really good. Got some tampograph paint up here. You got ZB-01. Can't really make that out too much, but if you can, let me know what it says. You got some danger right here. I do like these little tampograpphs all throughout. I just wish they were a little bit bigger so we could read it, but that's just my opinion. But you get some more silver paint up here. And following throughout, it's a very streamlined jet mode. I like it, except for this, you know, part right here, which is something, I don't know if I've transformed this guy like 5 or 6 times and just can't get this together. I don't know what it is, but this is kind of a eyesore in my opinion. I wish this would have been red, so it just kind of blended well together, but that's just me. But got some nice white plastic on the wings here with some blue and yellow paints. Looks really clean, really sharp. And going to the back, underneath here, you got some molded detail as well. The thrusters are picked out in a nice silver paint. And some nice detail on the thrusters. And the back is pretty good, too. He does have landing gear, working landing gear. You can fold them in and out if you want. I haven't found any place to plug in like a stand or anything like that, but to get him into a flying pose. But it would be nice if future releases that they would include something to hold him to get him into a flight pose. It'd be nice. But the landing gear here is painted silver, some gray plastic wheels, and the wheels roll. So yay for rolling wheels. But he's a plane. He doesn't roll all that much. He flies mostly. But there is that. So moving on, you can store the missile pods if you wish. It's just the same as airstrike. You got a little peg right here, and you got two sets of holes right here. It doesn't matter which one you do. Me personally, I like to put them on the outside. So let's put them on the outside. And one thing with fly fire that I don't think had the issue with airstrike, but you want to keep the missile pods in an X formation, the wing bits of it in an X formation, because they clip in very well. But if you get them to where they're like that, it's not going to peg in securely. So let's keep them like that. And there you go. Let's see if I got that one. Yeah, I got that one. Okay. So there is that. There is also storage for his blaster here. Again, it's just the peg in the hole. Either one doesn't matter. You can use the handle. It's not a secure fit, but it kind of pegs in pretty well. Or you can just take it and just use the pegs on either side. The hinge here is kind of hindered this, so you might want to use the outside peg for if you're going to store the weapon. But it also would have been nice if there was somewhere in the front here to store the weapon, like up front here in the nose cone, to give it that look like that. But that is just my opinion. Your mileage may vary. Let's get into some comparisons. So for comparisons, we're going to bring back our little friend here, camera number 2. Hello, camera number 2. How you doing up there? How's the weather up there? Is it snowing? No, it's foggy. It's foggy outside. But that's a different story for another day. Let's get into the comparisons. First and foremost, let's bring his Zeta brother here. Let's bring in Airstrike. I'm trying to get both of these guys in one camera. But there you have them combined. And these guys are massive. I mean, for Zeta, I mean, these guys are just knocking on the park with their vehicle modes, like I said. I mean, they look great together as airplanes. I think the scale matches. Again, I'm not quite familiar with airplanes, so there's that comparison. For another comparison, let's just bring in a couple binaural. There is with the first version of Blast Off. You know, this guy pretty much looks like a drone compared to him, but there you have an idea of what they look like together. And for another comparison, here he is with Combiner Wars Silverbolt. Show you what they look like together. Like that. And there you go. There's that. For comparison. For another comparison, just for giggles, just so we can get the human scale of it, here he is with MP39 Chip Chase and MP10 Spike. And for some more giggles, let's just throw in some Power Masters there. They'll stand up. There you go. So there's that comparison. And for a final comparison, let's bring out a Seeker mold, an Masterpiece Seeker mold. Here he is with Thundercracker, because I do not have a Starscream. But let's see how we can do this. I mean, there's that. Kind of get it in frame. No. All right, let's just go to camera number 2. Camera number 2, take 2. There we go. That's better. And that just gives you an idea of how they scale together. So that's pretty cool. I like it. Let's get him transformed into robot mode and see what robot mode looks like, shall we? So here we have Flyfire in his robot mode, and I do have my issues with the robot mode, but we'll get into that as I move along with the review here. But let's just go over the way he looks. First off, I think he looks decent in robot mode. I think this face sculpt is really good. It's the same essential aesthetic as Airstrike. You know, blue eyes, silver face plate. It's painted silver, and a silver top of the dome right here. But I think it looks very nice. There's no little splotches, and it cleans up very nicely. Some nice detail in the chest area all around here. Looks really good. Some little bit of molded detail here throughout. And some nice gunmetal gray. And the inside with some molded detail as well as the inside of the leg here. Got some nice gunmetal gray paint there as well. He looks good. I'm just going to say it right now, but I'll go into more detail. He could have used more paint. So let's get into articulation. Articulation-wise, the head is on a ball joint. You can look up very well. You can look down very well. You can do a full 360. The shoulders can do a full 360 as well. You can go out that far if you don't use the double, hinge right there. If you do use double hinge, you can go out that far. Just make sure that you bring it back in. There is a bicep swivel. There's two joints here in the elbow, but you can kind of get one like that. You can get 9 degrees like that, giving you a robotic look. Or if you want a more, natural look, you can go use both hinges, and it gets you a little over 9 degrees. Did I say there was a swivel here? I think I did, but just in case there's not a swivel there. The hands, there is a swivel here. A very loose swivel, mind you. And the issue I have with Zeta is that the hands need some reworking, because this ball joint for the thumb is super loose. This thumb pops out on both hands. This joint and this knuckle right here is super tight. And this joint in these knuckles is super loose to where the fingertips pop out. I think Zeta should... I understand why they're going with individual articulated fingers. I think they should move away from that and go with completely molded fingers all molded together. In my opinion, because if they don't work on their tolerances for their figures, you're going to have a lot of people losing digits. I'm just going to say that right now. Moving right along, though. The waist swivel is very hindered by the backpack. If this bar right here could have been pushed back further, I think you would have been able to get more movement in the waist, because as of right now, that's all you get. It's not a lot, but it's some. But again, if they wanted more waist articulation, they could have messed with this part right here, tucking further back into the rear section of the plane. But that's just me. The hips themselves can go forward, not very far, but far enough. Forward, backwards. Mine can, this leg, I don't know how well you can see that, but this leg cannot go back at all. This one, the right leg, can go back. See? But for some reason, the left leg, it's not budging. And I don't want to force it, because I don't want to snap this. Because, combined mode, this is going to be the arm, but this doesn't want to go back at all. Could be a QC issue on my figure alone, Your mileage may vary. Soft ratchet going outwards, over time, it's gonna fall on you. I think this should have been a tighter ratchet. I really do. Because here you have a very tight ratchet in the knee, giving you 9 degrees. And I think this should have been a tighter ratchet than this. My opinion. There is a hip swivel, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And for foot articulation, you get 1 click out and a toe bend there. But that's all you get. So there is that. Moving right along to if he can hold his weapon better than Airstrike. I know Airstrike, he had issues holding his gun. Let's see if Flyfire here can hold his gun, because I've done it before on this figure that the thumb pops off. Again, that's a tolerance issue on the ball joint right here. But let's see how well we can get this. Let's just move the thumb out of the way. And he holds it very well. I don't have any of the fingers curled around it. It's a very tight fit. Ooh, that didn't sound good. And he's holding it like a champ. I think that's great on their end. Again, fingers aren't curled around it. And it's a very dead solid joint. Not joint, but peg system for that right there. So let's move on to comparisons. So for comparison, let's just bring in Airstrike right off the bat and get you to see what that team looks like together. Let's put him over here and him over here. And I think this team is shaping up pretty good. Colors spot on. The one issue I have right off the bat is he is lighter. Airstrike is lighter than Flyfire. He's a foot, he's an arm. I think the weight should have been more in him than in him, because when you have him in combined mode, you want the weight at the bottom of the foot to kind of balance him out. So I think him being heavier than Flyfire, being heavier than Airstrike, you're going to run into some issues in combined mode. That's just my opinion. This is just comparison. We'll get into more of that later. So there you have that comparison. For some more comparisons, let's bring out some Combiner Wars guys. Here he is with the first version of Blastoff. And Silverbolt. And Silverbolt is not standing up for some reason. Yep. There we go. Nope, Silverbolt's not going to stand up. So Silverbolt, go away. So there you have that for comparison. Let's bring in the humans. Let's bring in Chip. Let's put him back here. Here's Chip. Here's Spike. And you know what? This scale works for me. This scale works for me. And for another comparison, let's bring in some other MPs here. Here he is with Ironhide. Here he is with Optimus. Here he is with Sunstreaker. And here he is with Wheeljack, just to get an idea. And you know, now, and I know in my Airstrike video, I said that I think the limbs should be the same size as these guys, but I'm kind of liking the way this looks. Yes, I'm changing my opinion. I like the way this height-wise fits in with the rest of the line. The Masterpiece scale, I should say. So I think that looks pretty good. There you have that. Just get all these guys out of here as quickly as we can. Being ever so gentle with them to not hurt them. Because they're a masterpiece, they are expensive. We do not want to break our toys. Oh, God, he's heavy. Alright, and for one final comparison, here he is with Masterpiece Thundercracker. Just to give you an idea of what... these hips, man. These hips lie to me. There we go. So there you have that for comparison. So that's that. So let's get into some final thoughts for Flyfire here. So for Flyfire here, some final thoughts. Airplane mode's great. Knocks it out of the park. Looks good. Cleans up very well. From the panel lines, the molding, the paint, it looks great in airplane mode. In robot mode, however, there are some major issues in my opinion. The hands being one of them, from the tolerances in the thumb ball joints and the that first knuckle closer to the palm being too tight and the other knuckle hinge being really loose. I think they need to tweak that a little bit. The hip issue on mine could be a QC issue, so maybe that's just on me. I'm not sure. I'm not all for posing my figures when I display them on my shelf, so it's not that big a deal for me, but if you like posing your figures, make sure that the left hip can go, backwards. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is a significant lack of paint in the chest area. And if we bring in Airstrike here, we can see some paint down here and a little bit here, but I think this area could have used a little bit more, especially in this area right here, could have used a little bit more. Now, is that G1 accurate? Yeah, could be, but this is a third-party toy, and third-party toys are known for certain things, and I think paint is one of them. Now, if you don't like it, you can feel free to paint it. It's your toy. Do whatever with what you will. But I think this could have used a little bit more paint here. I like this. There's a little silver bit down here, but there's this little molded parts right here that could have used maybe a brush of silver, or this section right here in the ab area could have used a little silver. Maybe that's just my opinion, but I mean, I saw what Zeta was going for, and I think this robot is not really a step back for them, but I think there's just some things that they need to tweak moving forward. So, especially with the issues in the backpack area, I mean, this thing is dead secure. There's no moving around with this. Where you have some wiggle room with Airstrike, this thing is dead solid. In order to mess around with it, you're going to have to unpeg it and do a whole bunch of stuff with it. So I think they really need to work on this transformation joint right here. Maybe if this was pushed back further, it would have been better. I know I didn't go into combined form with him. I don't think I'm going to do combined form with all of the Zeta aerial bots, just because I want to save that for when I get into combined mode. And I'm still in on these figures. I'm still in on Zeta. I like where they're going with it. I like the scale. I think he's going to look great on a shelf in a masterpiece line. So that is my opinion. What is your opinion? Let me know in the comment section down below. Leave me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. If you want to donate, feel free. PayPal link. Everything will be in the description down below. This is S.L.B, and this has been my review of Zeta ZB-01 Flyfire. And this is S.L.B saying, my childhood hates me.